What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. I need a better intro. Anybody have any suggestions, leave in the comment below. But thanks for clicking on the video. We had a huge weekend for Grey Knights for 40k competitive in general. We went to Mythicos GT up in North Jersey. It's about a 2-hour ride. We had the whole team go down. We're missing about 3 guys. Sorry you couldn't make it, but it was a 44-man GT grand tournament, and the competition there was probably the most I've ever seen being in the competitive scene for 40k. It was insane. We'll go over the list of all the players that were there, but the notoriety that these guys brought to the grand tournament, it kind of helped us, Cuddle Buddies, the team name, as well as the Dirtbags, kind of grow a little bit. I really wanted to go to more GTs this year. Every single GT that I am planning on going to, I'm really doing it just to kind of get my name out there. Honestly, grow the channel, grow Dirtbags, grow, Cuddle Buddies as a whole. But I wanted to show that, there's good players really all over. And I really made this channel to help out fellow 40k players get better at the game. And you do that by practicing, making a list that you can play consistently, not even thinking or on 4 hours of sleep, which I'll get to that story in a little bit. But mainly to teach people how to get better at the game. So that way, when you go to a tournament, you feel comfortable and you just want to go to have fun. Not super competitive like other channels on YouTube where it's like you win or you die. I don't want to be like that. It's more of like beer 40k and be somewhat competitive. But we showed that we can run Grey Knights in this current meta while facing the top players in the world and still have pretty high rankings, which is insane. Like, anytime you hear of Grey Knights, it's like, what, 43% win ratio. Nobody knows what they do because nobody runs them anymore. They had their high when they first came out with the new codex, but when it simmered down and everybody else got new codex and got armor contempt, the Grey Knights kind of just shit the bed. Now, I run Grey Knights because I love the army. I love the look. I love the lore. I just love that they're the best of the best of the best of the best, sir. But I just like the look of Grey Knights. The knightlyhood of the Grey Knights is kind of what drew me to them 10 years ago and got back into the game in 9th edition. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go Grey Knights because they're coming out with a new codex. So I'm always going to be a Grey Knight guy, right? But I also like Death Guard. I like Nurgle. I like the lore. I like all that stuff. And Chaos is kind of like, I was playing Chaos before Death Guard had their own book. So Chaos, Demon Hunters, like, that makes sense. Sisters, we just like big titty sisters. Sorry if that gets me canceled, but Sisters was always cool just because they were them, Grey Knights, and the Inquisition all went hand in hand. So I actually had Sisters models back in the day with Demon Hunters. So that was just an easy transition. So those are my 4 main armies. I didn't want to just make a Grey Knight channel. I want to make a channel that's for 40k that everybody can come and watch. So you guys clicked on this video because we did take second at a huge GT. We're going to go over just like all my other tournament videos. If you haven't checked those out, go check them out. They're on the page. But I also want to get comments, shares, likes, all that stuff. I saw this video, this guy on YouTube. He says, hit the like if you like the channel or anything about, Dirtbags, but also hit the dislike on that video and let me know with a comment what you disliked about it and how I can improve. That's the only way these channels like us are going to get better. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video, and we'll get right into it. So first, I'd like to just show you kind of what I've been doing for the past year when it comes to rankings, ITC, all that stuff. I didn't know anything about ITC. It's ITC rankings, and you just type in 40k. Pops right up. You can see where you're ranked in the world, in the United States, in the Northeast, all that stuff. So let me pull this up for you guys here. Boom. All right. So I was taking screenshots. First, this was just like my win path, and I'll get into the tournament later. But I took some screenshots of just like where we're ranked as Cuddle Buddies, Dirtbags, myself on the ITC report. So just to let you know, you're clicking on a video that it's not just a random dude. It's not like the #1 fucking player in the world. It's a dude that has played consistently, but pretty good at the game. So you're not listening from, a random guy. It's somebody that can prove, I play the game. So here we go. So first, ITC Grey Knights, Northeast. ranked number 1. Now that's Northeast United States. If you think how big the fucking Northeast United States is, you got New York, Philadelphia, everywhere from basically like Jersey or fucking Virginia and north. So that is it's a lot of people. But there you go. We're number 1 in the Northeast for Grey Knights. These are all my rankings recently. I'm not higher with Grey Knights in the world because I play a lot of different armies. I'm not the type of guy that wants to run one army 1,000 times. It's more of like, when I'm bored, I play something else. I almost never run the same list over and over, and this is why. So Goonhammer, we placed first in Goonhammer. That was a Goonhammer Open. I made a video on that. That was with Death Guard, so Mortarion. That was super fun. Nova Open, I did bring Death Guard as well. That was kind of like a non-Morty list, but it was when Necrons were just Necrons. So I played Necrons, I think, the last day. I don't know, 4 fucking times out of 3 games. But I played this guy Brian, I think his name Brad or Brian, but he's on the Art of War guy, and he actually is and he actually is one of the top 1,000 Sun players in the world. Really cool guy. First time I played Death Guard with 1,000 Suns, which if you think about it, it should be an auto loss. He beat me by 3 points. So super close game, super fun guy. I took the wrong secondaries, but he then made it to the top 16. So, but that was fun. So that was Nova. And then we have just a couple, mostly other Grey Knights. There's like 1 or 2 mixed in between there of Death Guard, but these 2 GTs, if they were Grey Knights, then we would have been placed a lot higher on the rankings. Then we have ITC Grey Knights USA. So we are 4th in the United States, and I believe we're 8th. Yeah, 8th in the world for Grey Knights, just to kind of give you perspective. And then United States Northeast, these are the people. So Andrew Gagno, fun guy, met him at Goonhammer. He's the guy I played at the last match. He's a Tau player, one of the best ones. TJ Lanigan, obviously everybody knows TJ Lanigan. Anthony Vanilla, I've been talking to him for a little bit. Met him last year at Mythicos, and we played at the final table. So those 2 were at the thing. So basically just like all these people are just super good at the game, and they're all in the Northeast. And we are 9th in the Northeast, which is pretty cool. This was the standings. We were 100 in the United States ranked of all the armies, and 200 ranked in the world, which is also pretty cool. So all that just from the ITC ranking. So go check that out. All right, so let's go over the list. It's pretty simple, nothing crazy. You guys have all seen a Grey Knight list like this before. We did Presaged Brotherhood. So Presaged Brotherhood is the one where you get to CP if you roll a 6+ for a Warlord trait. That's a psychic power. So usually you put that on a tech priest or somebody that you know, like a apothecary, or somebody that you know that's all they're casting for the rest of the game. You don't ever want to spend a CP to try and recast it because it's kind of like null and void, right? So it's kind of dumb. But we put they also have a 1 CP strat where you can reroll all hits and wounds of 1. That's good just to kind of put it on that strike squad that you're running out and doing, you know, full rerolls to hit. But also it's good for really any 5-man unit that you aren't near Grandmaster like Draigo or Nemesis Dread Knight or anything like that, because you get a good amount of attacks for a 5-man strike squad or 5-man interceptor squad, and having to reroll 1s to hit and wound without anybody around you is pretty cool. It works with shooting as well. So if you have like a Dread Knight doing a ton of shots, hitting on 2s, you know, that's something that you could put on the Dread Knight. So it's good for really any squad. And then they also have a power, which is cool, where you can cast it on a 12-inch range on a 5, I believe. And if they move, advance, or charge on a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds. So if you put that on like a unit or a character, it kind of makes them think like, all right, wow, do I want to take those mortal wounds? Potentially, you put it on Abaddon or something like that. They can only take 3 wounds a turn. That's huge for Abaddon, which he's, you know, huge in the meta right now. So if you put on a Demon Prince or anything like Chaos, like they're gonna have to choose if they want to move and take D3 mortal wounds, and then if they charge again in the same turn, D3 mortal wounds. So it's just a easy, cool little psychic power that they gave to the Brotherhood. So what we took today, Librarian, the Mortal Wound Librarian, he's got Purify Flame, the Psychic Epitome, Vortex of Doom. He also has, this is something new that I want you guys to try out, Cuirass of Sacrifice. That's the 5+ Feel No Pain, and the 5 +1 to his armor save, which is amazing. But this right here, Presaged Paralysis. So Presaged Paralysis is a 10-point upgrade for your Librarian, or really anybody else that doesn't have to take Foretelling of the Locus right here. But you pick a target on the battlefield once per game. As long as the model that you have is on the battlefield, they can then stop Overwatch and set to defend. So I actually use this, I think 3 or 4 times. I think 4 times in this tournament. Once per game, obviously. But you basically just stop a unit of flamers overwatching you. You stop Tau overwatching you. You stop Super Centurion Squad overwatching you. And just a shit ton of bolters from like Orks or something overwatching you. So it's a 10-point upgrade to not get overwatched and have your dudes just die before they even get to that. Especially with the flamers nowadays. Like the flamers are so popular, especially in the meta around me, that you're just like, hey, you know what? You have a 6+ save in combat, but a 3+ save to shoot. I'm not going to shoot them at all. I'm just going to throw my 5-man interceptor out right in front of your flamers, you thinking that you're going to get an overwatch on me. And then in the charge phase, I turn off their overwatch and then charge them and kill all the flamers. So it's 10-point upgrade to potentially kill, 125 points of flamers pretty easily. So that's what we did for the Librarian. Brotherhood, Techmarine. He's the one that does the Prescient, so he's the one that casts on a 6, hopefully every single turn. And he's got Gate of Affinity just because. Draigo, we were testing out the Ghostly Bonds, but then we changed it. This is probably my old list, but we changed it to Sanctuary. So we did Gate of Affinity, Empyric Amplification, Sanctuary, to make sure that we get the 4-up invuln save. And also, he wasn't really casting Empyric Amplification a lot, because you need line of sight and you need to be within 12 inches. You can extend it to 18, but it's hard to cast. Usually I get it off on, if they're closer to me, I'll get Draigo to do it, or if I have it on my Nemesis Grandmaster, he's the one that usually does it. I didn't bring him in this list, but he didn't cast Empyric a lot. He only did it when they were getting pretty close to my my army, then I cast it. So he needs really another power to cast twice a turn. So that's why you put Sanctuary on him, because you don't need line of sight. It's 18-inch range, and it works with Gate of Affinity. They're both 18 inches range, and you don't need line of sight. So if you put like 1 CP on him, you can cast 2 powers pretty reliably a turn to roll 3 dice and drop the lowest. So that's why we have Draigo bring those 3 powers. Now you notice we don't have any warp shaping, because every game that I've been playing for the past couple months is we start in Nemesis, Tide of Convergence or whatever it's called, and you just don't ever change that tide. There's so many high AP weapons and high attacks and high strength and high everything nowadays that your 4-up invuln save on your Dread Knights are just going to be a 4-up invuln save. Like, you're never going to get the +1 to save. Most armies now, especially like Chaos, like they have a lot of ignore cover. Tau has a lot of ignore cover. Boltgun has a lot of ignore cover. So it's like, why am I being in a tide that literally does nothing for you? And I have to cast a power to change the tide when I know I'm just going to be in that tide for the rest of the game anyway. So I stopped bringing Tides of Shadows. And that's because of that exact reason. I never cast it, never change the tide. I usually go first, so I'm super aggressive with my interceptor. So if he has a unit that's starting up front, I'm going to hop out and charge them turn 1, or if I go turn 2, he's going to move up, I'm going to hop out and charge him turn 2. So no matter what it is, I'm going to try and get in combat as soon as possible. 3 strike squads, pretty basic. You'll notice the difference between my strike squads and everybody else's strike squads is these incinerators. They're free. It's 1 incinerator per squad. It's just for that extra, matchup that you have maybe in a Quins or Orks or somebody that's really high of armor saves, but they're going to try and charge you as much as possible. So you're just like, hey, you know what? I have an incinerator in that unit, strength 6, AP 1 damage, auto hitting. So makes them think, do I really want to charge that or not? And most of the time they're like, I don't know if I want to charge that unit because of the free incinerator. And if you're like, all right, I don't really need the Overwatch, he's probably going to be my first one to die anyway, so I'd rather just have the extra free weapon for trans hitman, Quins, again, anything that you need to hit reliably. 12-inch range, you can deep strike him if you really want to. And then we have our elite slots. What did we try out here? Notice 135 point Paladin squad. Yes, we brought 3 Paladins to this event. They are bringing Purify Flame, because I love Purify Flame, and Armor Resilience. Did not bring Hammer Hand because you don't need it for 3 man. All Swords. I wish I could fit a Demon Hammer in there, but I cannot find the points. But what they're doing is they're protecting the Mortal Wound Librarian. They can come down turn 2 with the Librarian. They can come down in cover, so now they have a 1-up save. Armor of Resilience, they have a 0-up save, and the extra one that all the Space Marines get. What the hell is it called? Something. I blank now, but they basically go down to a -1 save in cover with that spell. So you have an option. Purify Flame is a 9-inch range, so they come down. They could either smite to help out the Librarian, or they could do Armor Resilience to be super tanky in cover when they come down on turn 2. But the other option was to do a 5-man Strike Squad, a 5-man Purify Squad, a 5-man Interceptor Squad, just another unit to come down with a Librarian, but usually they die with 3-up saves. So they don't have any like defensive strategies or tactics. Our fucking transhuman is 2 CP, which is ridiculous. So I was trying out a 3-man Paladin squad, and they actually performed beautifully. You have the Purify Flame, because when they come down and let's say one of them live, if they happen to shoot at them, which they probably won't, they then can walk up and just Purify Flame for 3 Mortal Wounds flat, and then you only need a 5 to cast. And the Mortal Wound Librarian can also cast at the same turn on a 6. So it's a good combo. It's just an extra, 3 Mortal Wounds that you can be bringing in on the enemy's zone on turn 2. So that is kind of like their niche. That's their strategy, and it actually worked out really, really well. If you don't need them to come down, be very aggressively, you can have your Librarian be very defensively, which I'll show you in the tier Nids game. But they can deep strike basically behind a wall, like 2 of them behind a wall, 1 outside to see line of sight for a smite or something. So that way you can smite in your own objective marker, and the Librarian can be still on your own deployment zone. So if they're super aggressive and they're charging at you, just deep strike your Librarian in your zone, just so he can live more than 1 turn. So that's what the Paladins did. They did very, very well with that, and I think I'm going to keep them in the list. Servitors, backfield objective markers, backfield screening units. So we brought like banners almost every single game. So you always need people to put up banners or defend banners or have more people on the objective to cast banners. But also those 4 models in the backfield, making sure that they can't deep strike within 9 inches of you is the 30-point upgrade that I'll take every day. Just to stop, almost 18 inches in your backfield by spreading these guys out is huge. So easy servitor unit. We have 2 full-man Interceptor squads. Everything in this army has a sword because the AP3 you kind of need it with Armor Contempt. Contempt? I think that's what it is. So all swords. We combat squatted every single game, and you bring Interceptors with a Rhino because they get out 3 inches and they hop 12. So 15-inch threat range from the Rhino behind a wall is clutch. There's also a strategy that you guys, some comments people use where they don't know that you can do this, but you hop out of the Rhino, you cast your Ethereal Castigation, and then you hop back in the Rhino. Or if you have Interceptors out, like let's say you throw 5 Interceptors all the way that way to go kill that unit, but then you have these Interceptors that just cast on the center objective, or they're in the center and you want them to kind of hop back to be more defensive, you then just kind of move them up, cast Castigation, shoot, and then hop them back in the Rhino that the other people just left. So you kind of like keep hopping in and out of the Rhino. It's only on a 6 to cast, and you don't even have to shoot anything. You could just cast it and still hop back in the Rhino. So you don't need line of sight. Like you can literally just cast it if you're behind a building and then still hop back in the Rhino. So it's a good little strategy that if you guys aren't using it, it's just something additional to add to your belt for the Interceptor squads. Now, 2 Nemesis Dread Knights. I still think we need some type of Rhino popping or, little tanks that you can kill pretty easily. They're strength 8 weapons, 6 shots. The Tech Priest kind of benefits them as well because they're hitting on 2s now, one of them. So Draigo buffs the other one, reroll all hits, and then Techmarine pops the other one, so 1 hits on 2s. One has the teleporter, so that way he can shun if you really need to, or he can be the one that spends 1 CP to get out of combat, shoot, and charge. And then the other one has a hammer, because I still think you need hammers instead of the Dreadfist, because the D3 plus 3 damage is insane. If they have Empyric Amplification up, it's D3 plus 4 damage. Like you're hitting tanks pretty easily, but also D3 plus 3 damage kills any Terminator that you know they fail to save with. So if let's say you're facing Chaos Terminators, they hit, they fail their wound, they then have a feel no pain. So like, hey, you have to save 4 feel no pains for your Terminator not to die, because it's D3 plus 3. So even if you roll 1, it's still 4 damage. So that's kind of why I like the hammer on that. Possess, it kills Possess pretty easily. Just keep going back to Chaos, because I play Mike fucking every single week. And then obviously the transport. So again, pretty standard list. It was nothing crazy like you might see with adding an Apothecary or a full Paladin unit. It's literally just the basic Grey Knight loadout. MVP, I think, throughout the weekend would be the Brotherhood Librarian. That guy did so much work, and I'll explain it in the games. We might actually make this a 2-part video, because there's so much to go over in these games. I cannot wait to go over it. I couldn't wait to get back and just talk about it. So let's get into it. All right, so this was the store. It's cool because I did a video with Mythicos. Let me just make myself smaller. Last year, and it's already been a year since then. So we got our boy Tony back here, Sisters player, like one of the best Sisters players I've seen. He also plays Grey Knights, which is cool. Vanilla right up front. He's the one who ran the bio list. Everybody was super scared of that. And then who else can you see in here? Nobody that I really know. This guy I think is Team Canada. You guys might know him. Who else we got? I think that's it. There's a bunch of people behind me too. But loadout's pretty easy. Every table was pretty much the same. It was run very smoothly. That's why we went back. It was me and 2 other players last time, and then we brought 7 people this time. So it was definitely a good turnout. This is the setup. We actually had the first game in the sun, right against the window, the only one against the window, and of course I played at it. Game 1, and we were super hot, even though it was like 30 degrees outside. We played Quins. So I also wasn't sure if I was going to actually record and take pictures of this event, because I honestly, going into it, guys, did not expect the Grey Knights to do anything. I wanted to go 4-2. So I don't have a ton of videos this first game, but then I won the first game. I was like, all right, maybe I should start, taking more pictures. But let me go to this list real quick. It's basic Quins. Twilight, I believe. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boats. So we had 8 boats, a bunch of troops. The Jester, the Blitz guy, he had 2 of the Psyker dudes. And everybody basically has Meltas. Like the basic Quins loadout that you guys have probably seen everywhere. That's what he ran. So he took the Quins objectives. The first game, I think, was Death and Zeal. Yes, Death and Zeal was game number 1. So with us, we actually had turn 1. If he had turn 1, I think he would have obliterated me. But we had turn 1, luckily. We have a redeploy 3 for Foretelling the Locus. I forgot to tell you guys, but we have redeploy 3. So we had to redeploy aggressively, and then we kind of kept them deployed there, because when you have Foretelling the Locus, you want to deploy 3 units pretty aggressively that you really want to get to places, and then if they go first, you can always just pick those 3 up and redeploy them anywhere or put them in reserves. So that's kind of the whole goal is with Foretelling the Locus, is deploy aggressively with at least 3 people out front, like Dread Knights or whatever, and then make that decision later on if you're going to redeploy them or not. And let's say you do go first, you can now put 2 or 3 units that you had defensively out. So now you have 5 people offensively out front to go get some objectives. So over here, that's what we did over here. We had an interceptor squad hop out and cast over there. We had these guys hop out and cast over here. And then we gated a strike squad over here. This guy shunted all the way over here. Turn 1, he got a line of sight onto this tank and blew the tank up. And then these guys hopped out, and I don't think we put him on the objective. We just kind of hit him behind here to wait for him to come out. That's probably what we did. So we got out of the Rhino, hopped over here, cast on the objective, and then I gated them, which is a good combo, over to here to kind of sit on this objective. So that's what the strikes did. They hopped out, casted there, got gated over here to put OPSEC on that objective, and everything else kind of like stayed back. So blew up a thing turn 1. Guys got out. This guy got out because he was in the thing. This was also really cool. So we have a 15-inch threat range with our Rhino. So our guys got out, moved up 15 to about here. He had 2 bikes right out front here, 2 small bike unit, and we actually made the charge from here. I think it was a 7-inch charge. Turn 1, fully buffed up, Sanctuary and full rerolls from Draigo. They didn't have rerolls; they just had Sanctuary. So hopped out and then charged those bike squads. Right, I killed them, and then I consolidated and tug up 1, 2, 3, 4 pods. So that's what you want to do with Quins, is you want to tie up their vehicles as fast as possible. They do get their attacks, but they're not going to kill your whole unit. So basically, we killed the bikes, consolidated right into these things. So that way, he can't fall back and shoot, and the guys can't fall back and shoot. So he has to get out and shoot, or spend a CP to fall back and shoot, but he can't do that 4 times. So we had a really, really good turn. First turn, I think we got 5 points for casting on all 4 objectives. And then we took Bring It Down, which we killed one of the vehicles, so we got one of those. And what was the other one? We'll go over it at the end. But yeah, that's all his troops. So I just took a picture of all that. This guy was pretty cool. This I took a picture of because we got 2 Dread Knights to charge his 1 vehicle that had 5 wounds left. This Dread Knight whiffed with all of his sweep attacks. And then this guy whiffed with all of his actual attacks. So I literally had 15 attacks coming into this bike or this vehicle, and I whiffed every single time. And I was like, is that going to be the whole weekend? It's just those dice rolls? Or are we just using all the shitty dice rolls up front so that way we can blow them up later on? And that's kind of what happened here, is I had a lot of guys come out and just try and kill this. I popped another vehicle over here. His guys came out and charged and killed all but these 2 guys over here. And this Death Jester moved up and just kept shooting guys over there. But yeah, I had to take a picture of this because that sucked. And that's my opponent. He's a pretty funny dude. Eric is his name. This thing is empty. Now, with Quins, you always want to keep track of what's empty, what's not empty, what troops do you have in it, what troops don't you have in it. Don't let a Quinn player, no matter how good they are, play sloppy. So a great example in this game was I kept putting dice or wound markers next to vehicles that had to fall back that turn, so that way we know they couldn't shoot. And then I had him put his guys and his characters next to the vehicle that they're still in, and we had to go back and forth like 4 or 5 times to figure out who fell back that turn, how many guys were still in the vehicle, was the vehicle empty, all that stuff. So just to save both of you guys' time, having markers or even pieces of paper. I think Vanilla did that last year. He literally just put pieces of paper in the vehicles, and when the guys got out, he took the paper off and put it to the side. So make sure you're tracking it, no matter what type of player you are, tracking where the hell all these guys' transports are, because there's fucking 8 transports on the table. Like, it's really hard to keep track of for any player. So that was that. Let's get into the next thing. He didn't ever come over to this objective up in this corner, so I basically had that pretty reliably. I deep struck some strikes over there after the interceptors moved out and came down here, but I took Bring It Down, so I have to try and kill these vehicles as much as possible. So I'm aiming for the vehicles, trying to get at least 8 points from that. Getting my Psychic Ritual off, so I'm trying to max that out as soon as possible. And banners, I think we took, I don't know if we took banners in this. It might have been banners. We'll figure it out at the end. But over here, this is just a mosh posh of all guys getting out of the vehicles and trying to finish off this lane. He wanted to kind of take over this side of the board, but I didn't let him, but I just keep throwing more guys over here and deep striking all my Librarian. My Librarian came down with the Paladins all the way in the back right corner. There's the Paladins, and my Librarian just blew up the boats. So these boats that were stuck in combat, we blew them up with the mortal wounds. The guys got out, we shot them, they got out, and there was no Quins left. So Librarian is very good at clearing vehicles. So all he's left is we have a vehicle trying to block these guys from coming in, 2 vehicles up here, and all the Quins are starting to move out. These Quins got out, these Quins got out, and there's nobody left up here, just some vehicles. Those Quins got out to finish off these guys. So after this turn coming in, we were up pretty high. This Dread died to some meltas to the face. Draigo surrounded by Quins. We took this picture because it literally was just him in the sunlight, which looked really cool. That's our Draigo. And then everybody else kind of tried to surround Draigo, and at this point he couldn't really kill Draigo. Like, you want to try and charge Draigo, consolidate onto the back objective. He didn't have the movement to get there. So this is the end of it. We took all these bolters, we ran out, those guys ran out, Draigo stayed there, and basically all the bolters just finished off these troops down here. These guys helped clean up these troops over here. We have a Death Jester left, and these guys are all dead over here. So all he had left is a couple characters, a couple troops or vehicles back here, and then sadly we only got to turn 3, I believe. So we had to talk it out to finish out what we would have scored. I think he would have got at least this 1 or 2 more times. His secondary, I would have killed these 2 vehicles, and I would have got the full on Purify Ritual. So for this, we got 15 for Purify Ritual. Oh, that's what I took. Teleport Assault. Why didn't I think of that? So Teleport Assault was great in this matchup just because very small vehicles that you can blow up, and very small units that can be shot down by bolters. So we got 4 on the first turn, 4 on the second turn. So we talked it out. We probably were going to max it out, especially with the Librarian coming down and nuking a vehicle pretty easily. Bring it down. We maxed out at 8. Purify Ritual 15. We got 45 for primary. He got 28 for primary, 14 for take places. Weave was a psychic one that he took, which was not good. We denied it every time. And Dead Hyper, he got 9 for that. So it was a total of 51 to 93 our first match. So it's a pretty good first match. Can't complain. Second match, this guy, we played each other last year at the last Mythicos. Really fun dude, like super friendly to play against. Very clean, and also what's it called? Intent. So we always like say, hey, we're gonna talk it out, give each other like, you know, whatever you're gonna do, stuff like that. And it was like no arguing. Like, this guy was definitely one of the best people to play against. And he's got a really cool orc list. So 2 big psycho dudes, vehicles that transport like 30 fucking people. Gazgul, 2 4-man and 1 3-man of these bike guys. 2 units of Gretchen, Weird Boy, whole bunch of Killer Can dudes, 5 Terminators, this jump pack character, the bike character, and I think he had commandos. So 1 unit of commandos as well. So that was his list. And this vehicle right here behind the Red Bull can. Pretty cool list. Did very well this tournament. I think he went like 4-2 or 5-1. 4-2. I think he had 4 wins this weekend for Orks, which was fucking awesome. This was a setup. It was the 6 objective marker one. It was the one where the banners is almost always a must on this one. So we took banners, we took Psychic, a Purify Ritual, and we took Bring It Down. No, we took Assassinate. So we want to kill his characters because he's playing Orks. They're all going to run at you. So you just want to kill your characters as much as possible. I think he gave up like 12 or 15 for Assassinate. So we got first turn again, which was cool. So I put both my dreads in this bottom right-hand corner, lined up with all of his bikers over here. We were in 30-inch range, so we kind of just kept shooting the bikers. We killed a whole unit, which was great. These guys hopped out of the Rhino over here to kind of charge the commandos that were placed right on the objective on that side. 1 fucking guy left. He rolled a 1 for him to live. Oh, it was crazy. So he rolled a 1, so the last guy lived. And we didn't want to tie up the tank because the tank would have just murdered us. So we took over this objective. We killed all but this one guy, and we killed 4 of the dudes over here. Gretchen in the center. These guys are all castled up over here. And we kind of kept 2 guys on the objective over here, 1 to place a banner, 1 to cast Purify Flame, and we put a banner and did the same thing over here. So always wanting 2 guys on each objective to put down a banner and then cast Purify Ritual. So pretty good first turn. Then his first turn, he's measuring to see how far he can basically wah, because you get 2 turns of wah. Ghazghkull, I think, can do it twice or something, like something cool with Ghazghkull. So this is what he did after turn 1. So basically, moved everybody up as far as they possibly could. We got some shots off on this back unit over here. There's still guys in that vehicle, We were able to shoot off the Grots back here with the Paladins that deep struck. I didn't want to put my Librarian in the backfield because I knew he just would have got blown up. So I actually put my Librarian, I think it was over here. So this is what I was talking about being defensive. So I put my Librarian defensively in my cover because then he has a 0-up save. -1 really, because he's got the +1 to his armor save. And I try to just blow up the rest of his biker guys. I forget what they're called, Squigger Riders. So came down 15-inch range, 1 CP to roll 3 dice, drop the lowest, and then 1 CP to cast an extra die or extra power. So he just comes down and nukes them. It's super hardcore. This guy got out of the truck over here, and he came out and killed a bunch of these guys. The bike guy, I don't know, he died last turn. Okay, so the bike, oh, he was back there. So he hopped up and charged there, but the bike guy was right here, wogged, flew all the way down here and charged these guys to finish these guys off. So he actually died with the help of the Librarian, because Librarian came down and he was here, and we had some dudes over here alive. So came down, nuked this fucking captain, not even fair. These guys hopped out with 4-up invuln save, and we kind of spread out down here. Now, I did something different that he wasn't expecting. He still had all this shit over here. Like he had full unit, Ghazghkull, and a unit of Gretchen right behind this building. I wanted to try and charge up and try and kill this guy, but I failed the charge, I think, to get there. So we only could charge the Gretchen. These guys might have tried to charge and failed, but these guys tried to charge those guys and failed. So they're stuck back there. These guys came up and finished off the Gretchen over here. But I kept backing up. All these guys were here. They just kind of kept slowly backing up to try and defend my home base while these guys kind of came around here. So we were doing a rotation. So I was going this way and he was coming this way. So this turn, what do we got? Took this up just so we can see what's going on over here. We tagged up the Gretchen. Gaz started coming over. We did 1 wound to Gaz so far. This guy lived. These guys hopped out from over here, went up there and kind of killed the weird boy and finished off the Gretchen. So now we have these 2 objectives, but he's OBSEC because he spent 2 CP to keep him around. So he kept that objective from me, which is good on his part. Dread Knights started moving up to try and help out with these fucking Terminators that popped out of the vehicle. Gretchen came in, I think they came in from reserve, or they got deep struck or gated from the weird boy over to that side. But same thing, kind of whiffed on the Terminators, didn't really roll that well with my Demon Hammer. Librarian and Draigo got up to the 2nd floor so they can just start casting from afar. That's kind of a little niche, is Librarian just hops up to the 2nd floor just so he can see everything, and he's not the closest person, so he still has lookouts there, and then he just starts casting from 15 inches away all of his spells. So eventually he takes over this back right field. Ghazghkull just murders all of these guys. He still has 2 of his big vehicles left, which I don't really think I did anything throughout the entire time. Ghazghkull is working his way this way, but Ghazghkull finally died. So Ghazghkull went this way, and I think he charged the unit over here. We then came down and just kind of finished off Gaz with smites, shooting, and then we charged with, I think, a unit, and then he might have fought on death and finished off that unit. So yeah, so we're coming down to the final match or final turn, and this was like the the end of it. Libby got deep struck over here, finished off that vehicle over there, did like a shit ton of mortal wounds. All these guys are just trying to get most points for secondaries, trying to keep my banners alive. And this guy made it all the way to my side of the zone and took over the bottom objective, which I think it was like a 5-point swing, which was huge on his part. The end of the game, this is how close the score was. 71 to 66. I didn't think it was that close, but it was a lot closer than I thought it was. Psychic Ritual, we only got 11, which was sad. Banners, we got 9. Assassinate, we got 15, so I think we maxed it out. No, 13, so we got 13 for Assassinate. I don't know how we didn't get, so we Gaz, Bike Guy. No, we must have had 15. Gaz, Bike Guy, Weird Boy, Flyer Dude. Was that it? 4? Biker Dude, Gaz, Weird Boy, Flying Guy. Yeah, I guess we only got 13. Sorry, my bad. So 71 total. I think 28 primary. Like we got 4, 4, 4, 0, and then just 2 every single turn because we were on his side of the table almost the entire time. But yeah, and he got good bits. I didn't know good bits was so good. Good bits is very fucking good. Stomp the yard. 4, 4, 4. Green Tide, he did not do good. His list just was not made for Green Tide, but he only got 1 point, which was sad for Green Tide. But yeah, great opponent. Loved the playing. Super friendly game. So, of course, me and Brian, if you guys know Brian, he's a Tau player. He plays Sisters. He plays, what's the other one? The Black Legion, Black and White Army, Crusaders, those guys. Black Templar. So he plays them as well. But mainly he's known for Tau. He plays the top 16, I think, in Nova with Tau. One of the best Tau players I've faced, especially in our meta. Anytime somebody faces Tau, they always have nightmares because of Brian. What he does to people is just ridiculous. Very, very good player. Been playing for a long time. But every time we play during a GT. So we played at Goonhammer, which I played Death Guard, happened to squeak that one by. And then obviously this one, we played again, but I had Grey Knights. Every time I play Grey Knights in the Tau, it is not a good time. So with this matchup, I'm going to try and explain it the best I can, but it really was just him giving me the win. And I'll explain why. So his list, if you guys are playing Tau, he's got 2 Crisis units. 1 unit ignores cover. 1 unit has like the 4 Feel No Pain or whatever. He's 2 Crute units. He's got the dude 3-man unit back here, Ethereal. That gets you the CP and then the 5 up Feel No Pain. He's got the 1 captain that can hop up and hop down on the same turn. That ignores cover. He's got 2 flyers, strike bomber dudes, which are just broken. He's got this commander, which I believe also ignores cover. And then he's got the Melta Chick back here with the Melta guns and 2 drones that are like the special drones. So, and then he's got Far Strike. So First Strike is the only Hammerhead. I'm used to him playing like 3 Hammerheads. So I thought like he was just going to murder my Dread Knights like instantly. But he didn't. So that was cool. Did he get turn 1? I think he got turn 1. And I had everything hidden. So he didn't really get to shoot anything. He kind of just spread out, put up banners, and just waited for me to pop my head out. I did banners, Purify Ritual, and I think I did Kill Shit. Or it might have been Teleport Strike. I forget what I took against them. Might have been Teleport Strike. But I think with this setup, it was pretty easy. This one was blocked down the center. He had Far Strike over there, so that way he can shoot this way. We did have a Rhino here. It is not there anymore, but the Rhino was there with the 10 interceptors. 5 interceptors got out here. 5 interceptors got out there. Far Strike shot and killed a couple of these interceptors, but then the bomber killed the rest of these interceptors. So bomber flew in, killed a bunch of interceptors, and then there was only 3 left over on this side. Everybody else blocked out his backfield so I couldn't deep strike my Librarian and kind of come in and just nuke one of his characters. But my turn, we actually started the Paladins. I think Librarian started on the field. Paladin started on the field. Draigo was up here. So I don't think I deep struck a lot in this matchup. Yeah, so that was turn 1. Turn 2, we moved out. from over here. Our Rhino was dead, so we couldn't really go 15 inches. I wish I would have just kept the Rhino back there because that's a 15-inch gap. Like it's 20 inches, so it would have been 6-inch charge. Don't know what I was thinking. Hopped out 2 units. One was a 3-man over here, hopped up there. The other one was a 5-man unit that was over here, hopped out there. And Librarian got gated over to here inside of the forest. This Dread took 2 wounds. This Dread didn't get hit yet. And these guys are just kind of chilling. And the Paladins is what I was talking about. He's got Purify Flame. So they can come out and kind of nuke this thing, which I think they did. One Paladin moved out to try and get 9 inches from the bomber and do a Purify Flame for free. Or 5 units to cast. These guys hopped out 12. Now this is going to be a big turn. I'm either going to make these 3 charges and do some shit, or I'm going to fail and die. So over here, they need a 7. We measured it out. And with the CP strat that they have that stops 2 inches from movement when charges, I need a 9. So it's going to be a huge 9 I have to make, which we do. So we make both those charges. The one was like a 5 going up to a 7. This one was a 9. We made the 9. And we did a bunch of damage to these guys over here. Over here, they made it too. So we had to choose, was I going to spend the CP on this unit, which is way more important, or this unit over here? So he did the CP for the top unit, which I needed a 9. This unit only needed a 7. So we made our charge. We killed some Kroot, and we did some wounds to this squad over here. Now he still has all of his characters alive in the backfield. I'm trying to chip away, but I'm running out of units on my side. So I'm trying to keep the banners up, keep casting Purify Ritual. My Librarian has to do some work. So he hopped all of his guys out because he can fall back and shoot still with his Manka or whatever the frick it's called. This is our jersey, by the way. Cuddle buddies. What did he do? So over here, this was the turning point. I don't know if I got a picture of it. I did not. So this is the turning point. Back here, this is his dice. He had his flyer, Deep Strike back here. And then he had his character, his one ignore cover character, hop up and hop down the same turn back in this corner right next to the flyer. So he did some shots, killed some people. But what I did was I deep struck my strikes over here. Draigo moved up. This guy scooted up. But what I did was I shot his character and he got down to 1 wound. All right, his character, because it was the closest one. So shot his character, took it down to 1 wound, did some smites and stuff from Draigo. And then he had 1 shield drone left. I know what he does with the shield drones. He throws it up to stop one of the damage on his vehicle. So that's what he was saving his shield drone for. So he took wounds on his character instead of his shield drone to try and stop damage from his vehicle. I knew that he was doing it. But what we did was we shot and actually did wounds to the vehicle, eventually blowing it up. So the Dread Knight definitely helped out with that. Getting +1 to hit with the Tech Priest is huge. Hitting on 3s now. And also spent 1 CP to do -3 AP on the side cannons, doing 2 damage. So we blew the vehicle up. Now this is where the turning point was. He rolled a 6 to explode. Does D6 to explode. So his guy had 1 wound left. He rolls a 6. Literally doesn't matter. Could have rolled a 1. Killed his freaking character. So blow up the vehicle, kills character. Both die in that turn. Mortal Wound Librarian comes down, does so many fucking mortal wounds to everybody over here, just murdering this entire side. And this character that was here with the 2 shield drones, I was in range of the with the Mortal Wound Librarian. Librarian does 7 wounds to it from like 24 inches away, 18 inches away. So it's the Vortex of Doom. So he fucking shoots the Vortex of Doom at him, does 7 mortal wounds, and takes that one guy down to 1 wound. So then I'm just shooting pot shots. I'm shooting 4 Stormbolters here. I'm shooting 4 Stormbolters here. My Librarian, like everybody's just shooting pot shots at this last dude by himself. And finally he rolls a 2 and his guy dies. Whew. So in this one turn, we blow up a vehicle, blows up his own character, mortal wounds this character, finishes that guy off. So it was a huge swing on this one turn. All right, so then all he has left is this unit, like full unit of crisis suits, a little bit of Kroot left, which I think he passed his leadership to keep that objective from me, and his ethereal back there. this paladin came out and did some mortal wounds to these guys, which is pretty funny. All right, so next turn, he hopped the guys that were right here up to this building. He spent 1 CP to have them run like 16 inches and still shoot. So they went from here up on top of this building. So what I had to do, or what happened here was he shot the one paladin that was still alive right here. So he wanted to kill the paladin, kill these guys, and do wounds to my Dread Knight. That was his goal with this squad, which most of the time you can do. It's like AP3, AP4, AP5, like D6 plus 2 damage, like crazy shots. But with Manka, whatever the rules are, you have to be the closest visible unit to get bonuses. So since this paladin was alive, you have to allocate all your shots first and then see if they die and then get bonuses. So paladin fucking lives. I needed like 5s for the invuln save. I made the 5. I need another 5. I made the next 5, and the paladin actually lived. So all the extra bonuses that he was getting for killing that squad and this squad just didn't happen. So these guys are up here. Libby's still alive. These guys are still alive. Let's go into the next turn. By the end of the game, Draigo came out. Everybody basically moved up to try and shoot and then charge this unit. So the strikes moved up, charged. This guy moved up, charged. Draigo moved up to get some spells off. And then at the end of the game, we just needed to get points. I knew it was really close at this point. So I took, I think I took, what did I take? Was it Teleport Assault? So I took Teleport Assault. Now what I should have done was he had Kroot left back over here. All I had to do was deep strike my Dread Knight, right, over to here and just shoot everything into this fucking Kroot unit to get 4 points, like easily 4 points. But me being me, I'm like, oh, I got to kill these ethereal people on this back objective, which they have like a 4 or 5 up, like save 9 wounds, like something crazy. So to go for the easy points, I'm like, oh, my Librarian can kill him, wasting all my CP to try and do it in the process. But this is the end of the game. So I deep struck. I got the spell off over here to try and finish off the ethereal. Didn't do it. Kroot is still left over here. Or they might have died, but I should have shot him with the Dread Knight that got gated. And then everybody else kind of like stayed back to try and do Warp Ritual. So what I should have done was Libby, instead of him coming up here, Libby should have went back here. Techmarine should have went over here. Draigo stays there. Libby comes back here. Cast Purify, or he has to do Gate. Purify. That's 5 points. Gate with 3 CP. This guy over to here. They shoot. Spend 1 CP for 1 extra AP or whatever. Shoot the Kroot, kill the Kroot. That would have been 4 points plus 5. That's 9 points. So, and then the banners, 9 point swing I could have got, but instead it was 85-83. So let me see if I can turn this for you guys. So we got Psychic Ritual. I only got 12. I got 2 on the last turn, which I definitely should have got more. Banners, we got 15, which was cool. That mission's super easy for banners. He got banners, 11 for banners because I took down his banners pretty early. Teleport Subtle, I only got 8. I should have got 12. Like easily should have got 12. So that should have been 89, maybe 90 to 91 if I got 2 more rituals. So 91 to 83 to 85. So 2 point gain, that's what it was. He got 11 for banners, decisive he got 8, and then witch, he killed everything. So witch was easy for him. That's how close that game was against Tau. I think the biggest turning point was him deep striking his flyer, which he really didn't need to do that. And his character hopping up and hopping down, didn't need to do that. He could have literally just stayed in this building and just waited for me and shot me from afar, because I couldn't get to him. Like my rider was dead. All my guys were just running across the table into Tau, which didn't really make sense. I did spend that no Overwatch spell, I think, on this. It was one of these two. I did no Overwatch. Might have been the metal. So I did the no Overwatch on turn 5 or whatever, turn 4. So that way these guys up top, the 5-man unit, couldn't Overwatch me. That was the 10-point upgrade. So it couldn't Overwatch me. So I was able to kind of charge in and just murder them in combat. But yeah, Bri, always a good opponent, always good player, great teammate. and one of the best Tau players I've played. So that was an upset on his part. So I think he should have beat me, honestly. It was just little mistakes here and there, and me rolling 2 5+s on my Paladin squad or Paladin to let him live. But it's a dice game. Can't get mad at it. 85-83, amazing game. All right, gents, we are in day 2. Had to take a little break. We were sitting for like an hour and a half, but we got probably what everybody has seen, that Grey Knights did beat Innis, who I first met during this grand tournament. I guess he's Team Scotland captain, which is cool. He had a really cool accent and very vocal. And he brought a list that I've never seen before. The list was Kraken, I believe, where you run D3 plus 3 inches, a lot of strats. AP 5, so you get no saves on any of your guys. He brought a unit of gargoyles, 2 flying hive tyrants, 3 units of 3 brain bugs down here. Then he brought 2 units of raveners with guns, and then a small unit of warriors and 3 biovores that just shoot out spore mines. He brought the tentacle dudes, 3 of those guys. What else? He had the big brain bug to give out the 3 casting power. One had the Reaper of whatever. It's like the one where it ignores everything. And the other one just had a really melee beat stick as well. It was a cool conversion. But this one, the Reaper, looked really cool. So that was his list. He had 2 units of Hive Guard, obviously for the Florence. One was over here, and I believe the other one was over here somewhere. But yeah, it was a scary list. Going into it, I was not expected to win at all. I was on 4 hours of sleep. I don't know if you heard that in my interview with Noobhammer, but I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning, like probably 4:20 in the morning the day before. So I woke up and I was like, I'm probably not going to win today at all. And of course, the first game that I go into is Innis from Scotland, and it was just insane. So all the guys kept coming in the room. We were streaming, so the video, I'll probably link it in the description below if you want to check that out. It was a live stream event, and then you'll see kind of how we interact, how we played. I'm going to give you a play-by-play for this anyway, but it was cool. Everybody kept coming in the door and saying like, how's the game going, yada yada, and it was actually pretty close the entire time. So we played very defensively. This was the board setup. It was the one where you get to move the objectives. So I moved my objective pretty far back just so he can get to me. I moved this one forward. He moved the same thing, this one back, and this one that way. And then this one stayed in the center. But I had a standard setup, so I knew he could charge really far, and the Flyrants threatened really far. So I put everybody back as far as I could. These guys kind of blocked, the servitors kind of blocked it out a little bit. It was diagonal deployment, so we deployed like this and like this. I had 2 dreads in the back. I deep struck the Libby, the Paladins, and I believe a strike squad over here. And Draigo and everybody was kind of blocking this corner. And then we had Tech Priest, Rhino with 2 interceptor squads and strikes in this corner. So the whole goal was I took banners, killing stuff. So I know he had a bunch of infantry units and Purify Ritual. So this is a deployment. He got to go first. He took banners as well. So his gargoyles flew up to the center of the board. Everything else flew up. His Flyrant flew up to here. Where was it? Yeah, so his Flyrant flew up to here. This was my my guys after my charge. The Flyrant then flew up to do interrogation. I did some mortal wounds to this top guy up here. My Dread Knights stayed back from afar, shot some of these dudes and some of the gargoyles in the center. Now, what happened in the center was I gave my full rerolls to these guys and Sanctuary. They hopped up, shot some of the gargoyles, and then charged. I know if you don't kill gargoyles, they come back, and also they have crazy like defensive strats. He didn't pop the defensive strats because he figured that they were just going to die anyway. I made the charge, 4 of them successfully in there pretty easily. We used this little widget. If you guys watch the video, you'll see why. But we were able to get all 4 guys into those guys. I think I spent nothing. I hit a lot, wounded like 3 or 4 mortal wounds on top of that, and we finished off the gargoyles. We then spread out just so that way we can try and block, you know, from them. This is move blocking, so you always want to trade and then move block with Grey Knights. You don't want to just throw your 130 point unit up to block people. You want to kill something and then consolidate to block them. That's kind of like how you do the move blocking. So on his turn, he flew up the Flyrant all the way up to here. His Raveners moved up. All these guys moved up. Everybody else moved up. These guys are pretty far away, and I had my unit again right here. So what happened, right? This is probably the biggest mistake that Innis and everybody probably said that he made, was the Flyrant moved up to do Psychic Ritual. I denied it, which was cool. And then his Raveners shot and killed all 5 of my 3+ save dudes. So I think I rolled like 11 fails, which he looked up the stats and was like one in, I don't know, a couple thousand. And I failed it. So sorry, I rolled like shit, but those guys died. His Flyrant and nobody else around had anything to charge, because these guys weren't there yet. They came out afterwards. So it was basically just the Flyrant in the middle. These guys and everything else is the way you see it. So I was like, did he just leave his Flyrant in the middle table with no hive guard around him? And the answer was yes. So we literally just lined up everybody that I possibly could onto the Flyrant. All these guys are just kind of like waiting to move up and charge the Flyrant. And then we deep struck the Libby defensively, like I said in my previous video, but defensively in the ruin with the Paladin surrounding it. So I put 1 Paladin in the cover, 2 Paladins on the outside of the building, and then the Librarian came down right. Was it right there? Yeah, I think it came down right here on the other side of this wall. So defensively against this, because he was baiting me to go back here. Like, he left a huge space for my Librarian to come down here, but I wasn't, like, they come down and he just dies. So he was trying to bait me in the back corner, but I didn't take the bait. So I kept him defensively and I put him on my side of the table, so that way he can cast from 15 inches away onto the Flyrant, just do as many casts as I possibly could. A lot of smites, and then shots from the Dread Knight, I think, did it. So we're able to just kill the Flyrant pretty easily with psychic powers and shooting from all the bolters and the Dread Knights. So we got a charge off on these guys from the dudes that hopped out. They did 3 wounds. So they didn't do shit to these guys. I probably these guys had feel no pain, so I didn't want to touch them. I know they're really, really tanky, so I didn't really want to go near those guys. These guys were in reserves, so they walked on and shot the brain bug off. And the Byrivores, he forgot to shoot these guys turn 1. Turn 2, he forgot to shoot them again. But if you watch the stream, you'll see that I let him do it. So he put a whole bunch of Byrivores out front here, and I think these guys might have shot the Byrivores or the Spore Mines just so that they're not a nuisance, and they fucking are a nuisance. Like, if you have Spore Mines, shoot them with your bolters as soon as possible, because once they get too many, you can't move. I still got a Flyrant in this whole bubble back here, and he's got these guys huddle up over here. So I know he's waiting to charge with his Kraken and just throw everything across the table. So I'm trying not to get too close. I do have a Rhino right here, and all these guys are kind of staying back, casting Purify Ritual. And these guys are towing out back here for a Purifying Ritual as well. Draigo is over here still. These guys are chilling back here. So that was my turn. I had a really, really good turn too, especially with the Libby coming down. We put 2 banners up on the back and they just stayed there the whole time. He did put a banner on the center objective turn 1, but I was able to take it down with killing the gargoyles and then charging. So that was really good. All right, so he came back. He still didn't push forward. He kind of still came back. Now these guys did move up, and again, they're AP 5, so they just murder whatever they touch. They got a charge off on my strike squad. Not yet. The strike squad was back here. You got the charge off on the Rhino because we're right against the wall, and we're playing the ITC rules where you can't block out from the ruins, which I'm not sure if somebody could leave in the comments below if LVO you can't block out, or if you can. I'm actually heading out to LVO this year with my boy Keeble, but you can't block it. So basically you can make any charge you want as long as you have the distance. All these guys moved out. They finished off my 2 units. These guys just got smited and shot. And then these guys died from probably smites. Oh, no, the Hive Tyrant. So the Hive Tyrant hops out, kills it, hops back. And yeah, so I still have my Paladins, my Librarians alive. All these guys are alive down here. I am running out of interceptors because I keep throwing them forward to try and trade to stop them from getting the center objective. And he's still got this whole unit over here. So I know it's coming. I know he's going to just say, all right, fuck it. I'm running forward and charging your entire army. So my turn, I finish off these Hive Guard with some smites, and the Paladins moved up, did Purify Flame, Libby moved up, finished them off. Strikes moved up and charged them to finish them off. Rhino moved back a little bit, and here's his push. So we got everybody literally running, these guys running up, because they could still smite and run. So they get like 3 extra mortal wounds, and they get +3 to cast with a smite, which is bullshit. So these guys are running up. Hive Tyrant's now in the center of the board, trying to cast Ritual again, because I killed his main Hive Tyrant, so he doesn't really have a lot of people to do Ritual, wait till you see the secondaries. These guys ran up. Now he could do the Psychic Power, which he got off for them to run up, advance, and charge. These guys, I think, just moved up because they were here. So they just moved up, and that way they can get a charge off and finish off the strikes and the Rhino over here. So the Paladins are right next to the wall, so the Hive Tyrant can just move up. These guys were spawned by the fucking Biovores. He still had the Tentacle guys in the back here, and a unit of Warriors on the back objective back here. So I still have, quite a lot of guys, surprisingly. I think the Paladins got blown up by the Hive Tyrant. So the Hive Tyrant moved up, charged, and then flew back to stay on the objective. These guys finally ran out. The Hive Guard stayed where they are. This guy, the Brain Bug, or there's only one left of this unit. The Brain Bug is, I believe, right here. We were measuring to see if the Brain Bug can run to the center to do the ritual, so that way the Hive Tyrant can move up and go over here. So now at this point, he's got his sheet out, because this is, I think, the top of turn 5, and we were counting up the points to see what we're at, to see if we can even get close or if we can win or whatever it may be. So again, watch this video because it was such a good video. A shit ton of Spore Mines out here. Warriors still back here, and my Dread Knight finally came out to finish off these Raveners out here. But they basically just got smited and killed over there. These guys hopped out onto the center objective. They were going to try and cast. So I had 2 guys in the center. So I had 1, 2, 3 guys on the objective, so I can cast Purify Flame, because his guys aren't OBSEC, and these don't count as models, the Spore Mines. Up here, Rhino lived somehow, moved back, he healed it, and then the strikes are kind of just chilling up here. So let's talk it out. I was up by, I think, 4 points after giving him a ton of points. He took Cranial Feasting, so he has to kill my characters or my leaders of the units, and characters to get points with melee attacks. So I was going to give him this guy, the Tech Priest. I was going to give him this leader down here in that unit. And I think I was going to give him this leader. So we were just giving him points just to see if he can max it out. And then I was giving him the interrogation. So after we did it and rolled and moved up, he just replaced the other Hive Tyrant because this one's cooler. But he flew this guy from here to try and make that charge. It's a 7-inch charge. We marked it out. The Brain Bug ran up to here to get within 6 to try and do the casting. These guys stayed there. And then these guys all moved up because they were going to move up to try and charge and kill these guys. One Ravener was, I think, in the building, or maybe he survived, and then he kind of fled to go over here to try and contest this back objective because my one interceptor was back there. But what happened was he failed the charge. So he needed to roll 7, he rolled a 6, and then he had the CP roll it, and he rolled like a 5. So he actually failed his 7-inch charge from his flying right here, and he actually failed his 3D cast ritual right here because I denied it. So I saved my 1 CP to roll 3 dice to deny it. So let's go into the final score. So here we go. I kept his secondary points, right? Banners, he had 11. I had 11, or 10 to 11, because we didn't really stop the last 2 banners at all. Purified Ritual, I got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I only had 9 for Ritual. And then Kill Shit, which is no prisoners. We had 10 points for killing no prisoners. 45 points for primary, 45 points for primary for himself. He had cranial feasting 4. So 4 points for cranial feasting. Holy shit, right? So we kept him to 4 points for that. And ritual, he got off, I believe, the first turn because I couldn't stop it. Might have been the second turn, I don't know. But he got cranial feast or ritual off once. So I kept 2 of his secondaries to 7 points, which is crazy. Like, never done that before, ever. Banners, he got 11, just like me, 10 and 11. So we finished off the game with 84 points to 78 points. Crazy game. Watch the video because you guys will see how intense it was ever since the first movement. But Innis is a good guy. We were talking, later in the days. But we took on Team Scotland and Grey Knights beat Tyranids. Game 1, day 2. It was nuts. I was like, holy shit, I have no sleep. Now I have to pay attention to my next game. We go to lunch. We spend an hour at lunch, and I'm like trying to figure out who we're playing next because there's 3 people. It's me, Tony, and TJ, who are all 4-0 going into the final game. So one of us is going to get a pair down. Now, I didn't know how the pair downs work, so it's based off of win path. So the only other person that had the best win path going into this game was Zach. So Zach, we actually played him, who's a Blood Angels player. This is the final picture, I think, of the map, just so you guys can see. So this is Zach. So Zach is a fellow local player. We played at the last GT at the Palladium at their store. We ran like 4 Dread Knights, so we happened to do it just because he hasn't played Grey Knights a lot. So it was kind of big advantage on my part. But ever since bringing the Librarian back, he's seen the Librarian the last GT. He was super scared about it, which everybody should be because it's freaking insane. He was kind of fearful the entire game, which I'll go over. But he runs a really, really cool list. It's very niche. So he has Centurion squads with Flamers. Might have bolters on it too. 2 of the 12-inch no deep strike guys. A unit of basic dudes. Death Company with 3 hammers. This guy gives up 5 mortal wound saves and fight last, which I will go over within like 6 inches. 2 units of sniper guys. One has a relic that gets 2s to hit for basically army wide. 2 units of blood guys. One's with swords, one's with axes. A tank, I think toughness 8 battle cannon thingy. You guys know more than I do. This flyer, which has like 3 last cannon shots and a missile launcher. We brought Dante. And there's one more, the healer. So the priest guy can keep rezzing for free. But that's the list. It's a cool, really thought out Blood Angel list. And he went 3-1. So he went 3-0 going in day 2. Then he faced TJ, I think, and he just got obliterated by TJ, Thousand Suns. And then he goes into me, and then I think he won the last game. But let's go into this one. So this was the table setup. Pretty. If you touch this, you can see through it, but they're ruins. And then all these other ones are ruins. I had a really small ruin at the top here, which is weird. It was the Battle Sanctum for Sisters. And this is deployment. So it's 18 inches in the center. I forget what the secondary was. He took a secondary, which I've never seen before. It was a Space Marine one. If you kill something on the objective and he kills something on it, I think either melee or shooting, you get 4 points. So it's kind of like the Long War one with Chaos. And I kind of know how to beat that one. So if you ever go against a good player or tournaments in general and you take like Long War or something like this, good players are going to be able to play around it. How you play around that is you either shoot them off the objective, you smite them off the objective, you charge them on the objective, and then you consolidate off the objective. So that way you don't control the objective on their turn, and then they can't kill you off of it. So that there's a lot of ways around this, and you'll see I kind of played around all these objectives the entire game, and he kept going, well, I definitely picked the wrong objective. Or secondaries. So he starts off with his obviously Death Company up here because they can move up 12 turn 1. Everything else is boxed in. 2 vehicles in the back here. Teleporting guys here. We can't go within 12, and the snipers And then he didn't put anybody over here because he knew my guys were up here that they could just charge and kill shit. So we went first, which I think was clutch in this matchup because his death company could have just moved up and charged and kill everybody over here. So knowing that there's a death company in there, you want to put your interceptors up as far as possible, even though he'll probably walk up, charge, kill them, and get 4 points. But hey, you can't really stop it. And then I put everybody else as far back. You can't really see it. Everybody else is far back here. And then everybody else is on the line because I got first turn. So you can redeploy 3 units, which then I redeployed them up on the line. And the goal was to either put them there to scare him to redeploy these guys, or if he leaves them there, I'll just walk up, charge, and kill them. So we actually redeployed them back here. He put them a couple in the ruin and then a couple on the outside in the ruin. Now with Grey Knights, 3+ saves in cover is good. It's bad against us, but it's good for them because we only go up to AP2, AP3 if we spend a CP. Not really worth it. So our stratagems are kind of shit with Armor Contempt. So let's get into turn 1. So I move up, get line of sight 30 inches to these guys, which again, I did the CP and I tried to shoot them and they didn't die. I think I killed one of them and left one with a wound, which he did feel no pain. He spent a CP, did 5 up feel no pain on them, which was cool. But I forgot that he is a healer that could just bring them back. So they move up, he then moves up, brings them back, extends their threat range. So he puts them like all the way out front, which I was like, shit. So the rest of them, 2 units hopped out in this building. I put as far back as I possibly could because I don't want him to just hop out and charge me. So I put a banner out, cast the Purifying Ritual. These guys hopped up, cast Purifying Ritual, and I put a unit from the Rhino out here. And I think I forget how they got over to here. Oh, I think I redeployed. So I redeployed a unit here during my phase. There they are. So I deployed them there, and then they just moved up 12 onto the objective. Here is a little trick. You cast it because there's nobody on there, and then you gate them the fuck out. So they got gated all the way back here again. The reason you do that is because now he can't kill them off the objective. He doesn't get free charges. These guys can hop out and just charge them. So you don't want to give them free charges or threat ranges. And if your 130 point units are hopping on the objective and not doing anything or killing anything, it's not really a good trade. So you want to I'm keeping these guys in the center because they are kind of blocked out of line of sight. And if he does bring guys forward, I can then counter assault. Plus I can only gate 1 unit. So let's go over it. I moved up, cast my ritual, got back. I did it on 4 objectives. That's 5 points turn 1. I put out 2 banners. And then all these guys kind of just moved up and shot these dudes. So his turn 1 moves up, puts a banner on this objective. Snipers move up. This thing moved up to get shots on my Dread Knight. Obviously, these guys move all the way back up. He rezzed one with his Apothecary to extend the range. Battle Tank stayed back because he didn't want my Librarian to come down and just nuke it, which was smart. He blocked out the backfield a little bit. So this is the first time I've spent 2 CP on Transhuman, which is bullshit, by the way. I don't even think I have my light on. There we go. Wow, that's super bright. Okay, so it's bullshit because everybody else's is 1 on a 5-man unit. Ours is 2, which sucks. But my goal here is to try and get them to live. So they have full rerolls because of Draigo. They have a 4-up invuln save, and he charged me with his dudes. So I spent 2 CP to do Transhuman, so that way he needed 4s to wound me with his Demon Hammers, which was good. I think he wounded me 4 or 5 times, and I had my 4-up invuln saves, and I think all but 2 died. So I had 2 or 3 guys left, which they might be here. I think next turn they hopped back into the Rhino, but 2 or 3 guys lived, so I stopped him from getting 4 points on the center objective. So that's why I did the 2 CP, because I didn't want him to get 4 points for free just by killing those guys pretty easily. So I stopped him from killing those guys, and my guys lived. So that way I was able to hop back. They might have actually hopped over here. So they went from like here, they hopped over here to try and do some smites and charges and shit. But we had our Librarian, Deep Strike, right behind our Dread over here. So Dread moved up, Libby Deep Struck right behind the Dread, so that way he's character protected to just murder all of these guys in this right objective. So coming down, extend the range, Purify Flame, Vortex of Doom, and Smite if you need it. Just murders that entire unit. And then what I did here, this is what I didn't like. So anytime you're playing competitively, you always have gotchas, right? Anytime you play against a guy that has gotchas or like doesn't tell you anything until it happens, it's not a fun game. And I always like having fun games. Anytime you play against me, it's always like, hey, yeah, take it back, no problem. I want to have a good, clean game where if you could do it, great, you could do it. But there's also things that like are gotchas, meaning like if you do something and it triggers something on their side that you're like, well, fuck, if I knew that ahead of time, I wouldn't have done it. There's so much things to pay attention to in this game. You always forget stuff. Plus, again, I'm on 4 hours of sleep and I just played Innis, who's like the number 11th player in the world. So this is what happened against Zach, right? I move 5 guys out of the objective or the Rhino 15 inches up to here. And so I have like a 5 or 6 inch charge on his dude. And I always love killing characters, right? If a 5-man unit can run out and kill a key character on the enemy team, it's worth it, right? Because that's a huge piece on their side that is very utility piece. So anytime they have a character on the wall, I always try and kill it. Not knowing that he had fucking fight last on it, there's no way I would have done what I did here. They then hop out, charge, and he goes, fight last. I'm like, fuck. If I knew that, they would have stayed in the Rhino. They wouldn't have done that. They probably would have moved somewhere else or gone to the center objective or whatever the hell it was. But I guess me saying it ahead of time, I'm like, all right, I'm probably gonna move out, I'll get charged on there. What's that charge range there? 7 inches, great, you agree, cool, awesome. Right there, you could say, hey, he's got to fight last. Cool, appreciate it, Zach, appreciate it, man, that's awesome. I'm gonna change it to this way if you don't mind. Yeah, sure, no problem. Moves it, right? Same with my Grandmaster. Anybody who shoots my Grandmaster, I will tell them in the beginning of the game, hey, he has a shunt ability. If you target him, he can shunt. If he lines up his entire army to go after my Grandmaster, I'm like, hey, man, remember, he's got a shunt. He's like, oh, shit, yeah, you're right. I'm going to try and make sure I can see 2 units. Cool, you got it. Procs the shunt, I shunt, and then he shoots something else. That's the way I like to play. Now, again, this is... If I win this game, I move on, I'm guaranteed second place. If I lose this game, me and Zach don't win anything. So it was more like he was just trying to beat me just to beat me, which was fun because, again, local guy, fun player to play against. Just that one play, I threw away 130 points for no fucking reason. But besides that, all right, so that's what happened to these guys. They moved up, got fought last. He killed like 3 of them, and then he died from the Centurions. So those guys didn't really do anything that turn besides cast Purify Ritual in the center, and then I didn't put anybody on the center, like you see. I don't want him to kill anybody on the objectives. This guy over here is on the objective. And I think that's it. So let's go into this play. This guy moved up to stay behind the ruin so he can't see me. Can you tell I was bitter about it? So I did like 2 wounds to him or something. Then he walks up and just heals him. But I have 3 guys left. So I lost there. So he started moving out. So he started moving his entire army out of the building, out of the brick, to start really playing, the game. So he moves up his Centurions, gets on the center objective. After they annihilated these guys, the snipers moved out from the building. All these guys started hopping out. Dante, I think, is behind the building. These guys spread out. These guys, I don't know if they moved out here yet, but the battle tank moved up. Dread Knight moved up to try and do something to this unit. This guy charged this guy. I don't think he killed it. And then my Dread moved up. Libby moved up to try and prepare for this charge that's coming in up here. So next turn, the Dread charged, lived on 1 wound because they have like crazy power fist. I lived with 1 wound with my Dread Knight. Dread Knight didn't kill shit in the squad. I might have killed like 1 or 2, but then again, he could just bring them back for free, which is awesome. The Centurions are very slept on. Like I don't see him a lot, and Zach runs them beautifully. We did stop his Overwatch with our Paralysis, so the 10-point upgrade, we stopped his Overwatch with his Flamer, so that was good 10-point upgrade. Interceptors, 3 left, charged these guys. Again, didn't really do much. These guys hopped out of the building. He's starting to get the charges off over here. He's trying to spread out. Tank moved up to get some shots off over here. And then down here, we had to kill and finish off this last guy over here to bring down the banner. So he's off the objective. This Dread Knight is off the objective. And then these guys are about to move up and charge whatever's left over here. So these guys made their charge on the Dread Knight. Dread Knight got lived, I think, with like 5 wounds. He's down here. Lived with 5 wounds. I was able to move up Draigo and gate him out of combat. And then the Libby said, "What's up, guys?" It just fucking murdered all of the Golden Boys. With obviously some shots that helped out a little bit, but didn't really do much. But yeah, the Libby definitely helped out. So this guy, I think, smited before he left. Draigo gated him out, and then the Libby just spent all the CP to just murder the Golden Boys over here. I think I killed like 2 or 3 of them in combat with my Dread Knight, so that's why I didn't have to kill all of them. I think there was like 7 in the unit, so I killed 2 or 3 in combat, 1 with an extra smite, and then the Libby finished them off. So Centurions full back to full. 2 characters in the center. The healer is there's the healer. So the healer's right in the center. Dante moved up here to try and help out the tank. These guys all died because I moved out from the Rhino. These 2 units hopped out. I did my charge on both these. So I basically charged everything in the Golden Boys. Charged the tank, charged the Golden Boys. They then died. And all I had left was this 2-man unit and this 1-man unit against the tank, and Dante came up and finished them off. These guys had to be on the objective. They're my strikes. They had to be on the objective to bring down his banner and stop him from getting 4 extra points. So I traded 4 points for 5 points because he would have got 5 points for keeping the banner as well as 4 points for the primary. So I stopped him from getting 5 points and I gave him 4 points. So it was like technically I'm still up by 1 by doing that. So that was a really good trade. Here was I finished off that little squad over here. I made the charge just on them, finished them off, and then consolidated on the objective to tag it because they're OPSEC. So this is where the game comes into turn 5. Now notice the Centurions. Now notice the Centurions. So what happened here was we talked it out. I did what we did against Innis was we counted basically the points just to make sure we can at least come to a close game. When we added it up, I think I gave him +4 for killing something on the objective. I gave him taking down my banner. I gave him putting up a banner for himself. And I think I gave him 12 for primary. So I was giving him all the points, and I was still up by like 4 points or something at the end. So he still wanted to play it out just because we're in a tournament. So I was like, all right, we'll play it out. So it's my turn, right? After doing that, I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do. I move up my Dread Knight. I move up Draigo. I move up my Paladins. Libby moves up and does the 15-inch range for the spells. And then Dante is over here by himself putting up a banner. But I I put Empyric Amplification on the squad with Draigo. I did a smite maybe with Draigo. This guy got full rerolls from Draigo. +1 to hit from the Tech Priest, so he hits on 2s. The Paladins did Purify Flame. Libby did Purify Flame. Libby did Vortex of Doom. Libby did Smite. This guy did Hammerhand. And I think that was everything that can get line of sight. So then we charged with Draigo. He does 4 mortal wounds with Empyric Amplification, or 4 damage with Empyric Amplification. He does 3 damage with his swings. And then these guys are all swords, and they hit on 2s, and they do 3 damage each on his swords. So with all the smites, all the mortal wounds, and the charges, he didn't have any Centurions left. So all he has left is these 2 characters, which again, I don't consolidate on the objective. Libby's is safe over here on the objective because he couldn't get really anybody to him. Dante was over here. I did have a strike squad on the back here, not on the objective. So no objective there, no objective there, no objective there. He basically got 8 points because he controlled this one and this one at the start of the turn. And then at the end of the game, I think he got 12. So I think he held this one, held that one, put a banner, and then held this one. So that was basically the end of the game. Banner, banner, banner. and we finished off. I had 15 for ritual. I got a really good turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, 5, 4, 5. Banners I had 2, 2, 2, 1, 2. So we got 10. And then kill shit, I killed 8 of his 8 points for no prisoners. 38 for primary. He had 34 for primary. 15 for killing the witch, because that's easy, obviously, against Grey Knights. 7 for banners and 12 for killing shit. So I think I gave him these 4 points at the end because I'm not sure how he got it. I think I gave it to him at the end, even though he only had 4 and 4. So we got 68 to 71. So we got 38, 48, 50, 63, 63, 71, 81. So 81 to 68. So 81, 68 Grey Knights. 81, 68 Grey Knights. So close game. Came down to the final turn. I told Zach that against Grey Knights, when you have AP 1 and 2 weapons, you want to come at me, basically. So I'm not going to be able to do a lot to shooting. So if you're better at melee and threat ranges, you want to come at Grey Knights, like hop out and cover and just take the shots, because you're going to make your 2-up saves. And then stay away from the Libby, which he did. But if the Libby comes down one way, you basically go the other way. And I think that was the way he was going to beat me, was being super aggressive turn 1 and 2, staying in cover with his golden boys, and then getting the charges off and trying to trade well. So good game, Zach. Appreciate it. And then obviously we got the last game against T-Suns, which again, I went into this game 4 hours of sleep, undefeated, guaranteed second place, which was cool. But knowing that it's like the number, 30th player in the world, knows his army left and right. Really, really cool color scheme. Like the way he painted this is I love it. Like super cool army. He brought 3 units of flamers. The demon character that does the +1 to wound for flamers, +1 strength, rerolls 1s to wound. Like it's broken. This other flamer, I don't know what he does for demons. He brought a bunch of Thousand Sun sorcerers. I don't know Thousand Suns a lot. I just know he kept casting spells that just tons. It's basically like Thousand Suns Grey Knights came out at the same time, but they got all the cool shit and we got the leftovers. That's basically how I feel. 2 units of Terminators and 2 Cultist units. So 2 10-man Cultist units, 2 Rubric Marines squads, and mainly characters, like 1, 2, 3 characters. This guy was a demon character, another demon character, and the rest were just infantry psychers. So we played this deployment. This is the one where you can start on the objectives. I took banners, Purify Ritual, and killing shit. I think I took kill shit almost every single game. But he does have a lot of chaff. But if he plays defensively and I play defensively, I'm not really going to get a lot for killing stuff. So that might have been a mistake on my part. But again, I don't know what other secondary would have taken. We had 2 Dread Knights on the table. These guys trying to block out the gates. All these guys kind of starting over here. He got first turn. So I wasn't sure if I was gating or deep striking my Libby and Pallies in, and I decided I was going to. And then he had a bunch of regular dudes over here and his whole Termi brick over here. And what I should have done was put the Rhino over here, so that way they can get out 15 and try and threaten this side of the table instead of threaten the Terminators. Like I wasn't going to charge and kill the Terminators. Like I'd rather charge over here and kill Cultists or Marines, which I think that was a mistake in deployment. Was the Rhino should have been over here to get that extra threat range, because if the Rhino even moved up to like the edge of here, this to maybe this is 15 inches. So I would have only had like a 3-inch charge to try and keep clearing this objective, and then hiding, on the other side of the wall so he couldn't come over here. That looking at it now, I definitely should have done that. So he takes Warp Ritual, which can't be undenied, or can't be denied. He took the Wrath of Magnus, which I think is the more cast than me. And then he took the other one where if you kill characters with psychic powers, you get points. Now, if you kill a Psyker, you get extra points. Shit. If you kill a Psyker character, you get even more points. So it was perfect secondaries against my army. And this was turn 1. So he finished off buffing up the shit out of this cultist squad. They moved up over here. They have like -1 to hit, feel no pain, and maybe +1 toughness. I forget, but they had like all the buffs that he could put on them. Everything else moved up, scooted up, and just buff. So the one guy can hop out here, do ritual, and then hop back. So hops out, does ritual, that's undeniable, and then casts a spell to hop back. Then flamers were over here. He deep struck 2 units of flamers, and everything else kind of stayed back, so my Libby didn't come out. I moved guys out of the Rhino out to here. We then shot and charged these guys to try and block line of sight behind here. He had 2 guys live. I think he rolled a 1 and 2 guys lived because they were fully buffed up. So they basically just walked up and tugged the objective. He's going to try and come out and smite me to try and kill me to get that. I actually was able to deny him killing me for the first 3 turns. So him trying to kill me with psychic powers, I denied him three turns, which was cool. Very hard to do. But I denied him. I stayed back most of the game. And he kind of stayed back most of the game. I know he comes out turn 4 or 5 and just pushes forward to try and blow up his opponent. So next turn, we come out. He's starting to spread out a little bit more. He still has the backfield pretty blocked, so my Libby can't get back there. Again, if I deep strike my Libby in the backfield of his Thousand Suns, I'm just going to die. So it was not a good plan. He still has all of his Terminators spread out here, a couple characters. Down here, he spread out over here. Cultists are spreading out. These 2 cultists live. I live with 1 guy in the center after he just nukes me with a bunch of powers. So that stopped his turn 2 powers. What else? We got banners up back here, kind of just chilling. These guys are trying to stay out of line of sight. I'm trying to block off him from deep striking. He was going to deep strike a unit of flamers in the back here and just nuke one of my units, but I still get a 3-up save, right, in cover. So he probably kills a unit, but then he's trading a unit of flamers for a unit of guys, which I think I'll take right now because the flamers are so good. So if he does that, I then just hop out and get free points for killing shit. So he doesn't want to give me free points just for killing stuff, which is my secondary. So if he can stop that secondary, that's the whole goal. I left my Dread Knights back here. They really didn't have anything to shoot at most of the game. He has 2-up saves in cover. I couldn't see anything over here, so Dread Knights didn't really do shit this game. This was it from my view. We gated a Dread Knight over to here to try and get line of sight on the cultists that were in the center here. So we finished off those cultists. I had to get some points somehow. So now that I exposed my Dread Knight, he can then start doing shit with his Terminators. These guys hopped out, weren't on the objective. They just moved up to try and get, a charge next turn over to here. Again, I wish I had my Rhino on this side of the table. So on his turn, his Flamers came in. So his Flamers came in right down here on this objective to get line of sight onto this thing. Now, I thought they were in cover, but these are barricades or something. So I only get cover if it passes through the line, just like kind of like a forest, but it's for cover, not dense. So I didn't know that going into this. I thought I was just going to get cover. That's why I towed everything. But so I had 4-up saves or something with them. So unless he kills like the first 3 guys, I wasn't going to get cover. So he flamered a 4-man unit. He did have a 4-man unit, but he didn't want to take the flamer out because it was in the case the whole tournament. So he was actually down 1 flamer. So I'll take those extra 3 wounds. Thank you. So he flamered these guys. I think 1 or 2 live. And now I had that 10-point upgrade that I can stop Overwatch for free as long as my Librarian's on the table. So Librarian didn't come down yet, but he gated his Terminators from back here out to here. This guy moved up to the center to do the he took interrogation, not warp ritual. So he's interrogating my characters every single turn, and he rolls like 3 dice, so he gets a CP from that every single time, because this guy I think rolls 3 dice innately. So I keep moving my characters back, but he moves 12, so he can basically move up or run to do it, and then fly back. So I move my guys all the way far back, but he still is able to get there. So he moves out a little bit further, like he rolls like a 4 to get the run off. He's exactly within 24, so he can cast that. But he failed his cast back to go back. I either denied it or he failed it. So this guy's just stuck in the middle. I'm like, all right, cool. That's a character that I can kill. Doesn't get me anything, but at least I can kill him and he can stop his interrogation. So his flamers come down, kill a bunch of my dudes here. His termies get deep struck out to here to get line of sight onto my dread. They're all AP2 weapons, +1 strength, hitting on 2s, rerolls, and he spent 2 CP to get +1 damage. So they're wounding me on like 4s with 2 AP, so I don't have armor contempt, I don't have cover, so this guy's wounding on 4s. I did roll like really good with the saves on this. Like I'm surprised he fucking lived. Lives with 1 wound, right? Out of all those shots, somehow he lives with 1 wound. He should be dead. Doesn't matter. Doesn't do anything the rest of the game. Flamers over here finish off these guys, and everything else kind of moves up. So my turn. These guys hopped out 12. We did a lot of mortal wounds and shots on these flamers. We left, I think, 1 left, which I was just going to charge anyway and kill it. And then these 5 guys, I think, came from back here. They moved up to try and get on the... this is the turn that I came out. I was like, all right, we got to come out and we got to kill shit. He exposed the Terminators. He exposed some Flamers. I was like, I have to kill shit to get points. So that's where we committed basically everything. This guy scooted over here. This guy moved up here. He's the one with the sword, so he could hit well, but he doesn't. Servitor stayed back. Everything else moved up. Draigo, I think, came. So Paladins came down over here. Libby came down right here, and Draigo gated himself over here. So I wanted to get some more oomph on this side of the table. Libby, this was probably the dumb play right here. I knew Libby wasn't going to do anything. He was saving his denies for the Librarian. I was 15 inches away from the Terminators. So when he comes down, he can then do shit to the Terminators, but he doesn't get any powers off. So this is basically towards the end of the game. We got to turn, I think, 3 or 4. And I charged, and then charged, killed that guy. Tremors just don't die in combat. And then these guys made their charge up here. So I had 2 units up here making their charge. I have not really a lot left down here. I think a unit of strikes and some paladins. Dread Knight back here, strikes here, strikes walking out here, Draigo and Librarian. So this is where it could have changed, right? We talked it out the last turn, and we were just assuming points at this point. So I almost maxed out War of the Witch. We rolled out, which is good. So you can't just guesstimate psychic powers because you never know what's going to happen with psychic powers, especially a deny army, 2 deny armies. So we rolled out everything. We rolled out all of his casts that he can target my characters, and I think if the Librarian is either back here or deep strikes maybe over here, something. As long as the Librarian is hidden, or even fucking over here. If the Librarian's hidden, he might not be able to kill it. That's my goal. So if he doesn't kill Librarian, that saves me some points. If he doesn't kill Draigo, that saves me from some points. The only characters I have are the Tech Priest, which is all the way back here, and then these 2 guys. But he'd have to kill the rest of the guys. I denied him for the first 3 turns for his killing shit, so potentially I could have denied him, I don't know, 1 or 2 more times. The difference is he can max out in 1 turn. So if he just goes off and just murders everything in 1 turn, he can still max out. There's no limit. Like mine has a limit of 5 per turn. If he had a limit of 5 per turn, that'd be great, but it's not. So he can just max that out in 1 turn. We assumed that we were going to kill mostly everything over here. I rolled off on the ritual, all that stuff. We got him off. I rolled off back here, and in the center, we got him off. And then I assumed that we killed off these Terminators, but he came out and finished off the rest over here. So at the end of the game, again, a lot of, rolling and stuff like that. We finished the game 38 for primary, 11 for banners, because I didn't really move from my side. Purify we maxed out. Now a lot of people asked, do you take Purify against psychic armies? 100%. It gets them to choose if they're going to deny it or not deny it, because if you're rolling fives, like, hey, here's a 5, here's a 5, if they deny that power, you can then potentially you could waste their denies and you can get a good spell off like Vortex of Doom, Purify Flame, or Empyric Amplification. So it forces them to think, shit, am I going to save my deny, am I not, yada yada. So that's why I always take it. Plus it's our easiest secondary and best secondary that we have, so I'm going to take it every single time. Kill shit was killing stuff, so I got 66, and then at the end of the game I was like, all right, I think I can kill at least 4 more wounds of something. So got 7 points there, which got me 8 points for killing stuff. So total, adding it up, 82 points. He had 38 primary, same exact thing. He had Wrath, which is I denied him, like rolling. He rolled powers, I rolled powers, and I was able to deny at least 1 per turn. So if we just assume that he got 2 every single turn for the rest of the game, he would get 10 for Wrath. Paralysis was the one that we weren't sure about, so we rolled it off. He rolled like a 12 on my Librarian, so I couldn't deny it. Just nukes my fucking Librarian. I don't know if I rolled saves on him. I'm not sure, I forget. But 15 for Paralysis, because we just assumed that he was going to max out Paralysis by killing all my units, which I think you get 3 points for a unit, 4 if you get a Psyker unit, and then 5 or 6 if you kill a character. So even if he kills 3 units, which I think he definitely can, the Dread Knight is 1 wound left, so he's going to kill the Dread Knight. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So 4 times 4 is 16. So he's probably going to get it anyway, honestly. He didn't even have to go after my characters. He could just snipe my units with psychic powers, and then he gets 15, which is crazy, awesome secondary that Thousand Suns have. And then Interrogate, he's got 15. Because he fucking has an undeniable Interrogate, which is crazy. So he maxed out 2. I only maxed out 1. He got 10 for Wrath. I got 11 for Banners and 8 for Kill Shit. So he finished off with 88 points, and I finished off with 82 points. So it was such a good, close game, friendly game, because every single time we were just talking, shooting the shit. Everybody came over to watch the final game. We had the Canada captain, we had the Scotland captain, we had Vanilla, we had basically my whole team just coming over watching us. Again, I'm on 4 hours of sleep, 3 fucking games down at the grand tournament, and I played one of the best players in the world. So it was super fun. That's what the final was. It was clean, fun, and he had literally everything he could. If I go back to the main thing, look at all the shit that he had. He had magic cards that he made for every spell, which was cool. He had these tokens to keep CP. He had dice to keep Wrath of Magnus. He had these tokens to see what powers each person has. He put dice down every time somebody casted a power. Had everything. So had the dice box right there. Everything rolled out of the dice box. He just rolled it back in the dice box. Slow. So that was good. And this was the dice that he gets to reroll once per turn. So I thought Grey Knights had a pretty good showing. Everybody else there thought Grey Knights had a pretty good showing. This was it going into the day 2. And this was the final match. So we had TJ, full win path. I had 5 and 1. Innes came in 3rd. Sean, who played Goffs, came in 4th. Anthony Vanilla with Bile came in 5th. Tony Phillips, great guy, also plays Grey Knights, came in 6th. Damn, he lost the last 2. Jeremy Atkins, Votan, and Nolan, local dude, Chaos, came in 8th. So congrats, Nolan. 44 player GT. I am out of out of my voice. I can't really talk anymore. But guys, thank you so much for clicking on the video. If you guys liked it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment, so it helps with the algorithm. Join the Discord. The link's in the description below. Also, I'm going to leave a link to their YouTube page. Go check them out. They do a lot of streams and talking about the meta, so you can go check out that video. I also talked with Noobhammer, who's a fellow Grey Knight player who has his own channel, with an interview on this tournament. So if you guys want to go check out that interview, I have one, he has one, and then obviously this video, it's just more in detail with pictures about the tournaments. I am always going to keep doing this as long as you guys comment, subscribe, and like the videos. I always like to see what you guys think about it. If you guys didn't like the video, is there something you can improve on? Definitely leave it in the comments below. Also join the Discord so that we can let me know there. We post lists. We have Death Guard, Sisters, Chaos, and Grey Knights. Those are my main factions in the Discord. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, definitely ask. A lot of people will help you out if it's not just me, but other people in the Discord. But what's coming up on the channel? We have streaming. The streaming setup is getting better and better and better. We got lights now, which is pretty cool. We got these cool displays for 40k. We're hanging them up in the battle bunker. If you guys are in the Northeast and you guys are subscribed to the channel, you hit me up on Discord if you guys want to get a game in. Always up for local players. We have a LVO coming up. If you guys are at LVO, last time I was at a major tournament, which was Nova, a lot of cool guys came up to me and said, "Hey man, I love your channel. I love the dirtbags, yada yada." The best thing that happened to me this year, I think, was the dirtbags calling out the guy who had his really cool streaming setup at Nova and said, "Hey, go find the dirtbag." And I was like, "Shit, I'm the dirtbag." So he said, "You want to play? You want to be on stream?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to be on stream." So I played Alex, who's another Sisters player, and I brought Death Guard there, and it was like insanely close game, Death Guard versus Sisters, but I just took the wrong secondaries. But that was probably the coolest moment I had in 40k this entire year. Obviously, besides getting married to my fiance, not married yet. Next year's married, fiance now. But guys, I just love doing this, and I'd like to hear from you what you like about watching videos like this, because that's what got me really into the 40k, was watching battle reports, watching Vanguard tactics, watching Tabletop Titans, and watching these guys make these videos. And I wanted to be more niche, geared towards teaching people in my videos, in my battle reports, ideas, and not just go almost like what are they, the Art of War guys, where they're just super high, like top in the world competitive people. And I want to be more of like the people that like to go to tournaments and do good with their army and have fun doing it, because almost 90% of the people that watch this video, including myself, are never going to be, you know, top 20 in the world, which is all they are, you know. But I want you guys to learn from these videos and let me know what you are questioning or what I can do to improve. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Join the Dirtbag Nation. We got dice. We just ordered dice with the Dirtbag logo on it. So we're going to be hopefully giving those out at the conventions coming up. But yeah, LVO, let me know if you guys are there. Hopefully I see you guys, and I appreciate it. Thanks for clicking the video, and we will see you in another video soon.